So I also wanted to make this video to talk about how the gods, when the gods created humanity, they created us in two parts, but fearing the power that humanity had, they cut us in half into two separate parts. And as this quote said, it's a quote by Plato. According to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with four arms, four legs, and a head with two faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them into two separate parts, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves. And this mirrors, or this Mayan myth speaks of humanity being created out of corn. So, the story of the creation of humans out of maize. In our Maya schools program, the children help us. I'll skip to the story itself, but it says, long, long ago, there were two creator gods, a god and a goddess, who got together in darkness to talk about the creation of our present world. The god suddenly asked, what materials can we use to create people? I know, answered the goddess. Our friends, the jaguar, coyote, parrot, and crow, have already found the answer. We'll use corn. This beautiful land where lots of white and yellow corn grew, called Paxil, a mountain split open, also had lots of fruits and seeds like beans, cocoa with wild plums, and honey. Fine, said God. We must press on. There is little time left before the dawn comes. The human flesh was made of white, that's male, and yellow, that's female, corn. Their arms and legs were made of cornmeal. The gods ground enough corn to make enough gruel to fill 9 gourds. That gave the men muscle, strength, and power. These first men could speak, hear, and see, had enough feeling in their hands to hold things. They were given intelligence and could see for miles and miles. They could see things both near and far up in the sky. They even managed to see all 4 corners of the earth. In fact, they could see so much that the gods thought about it and said, wait a minute, that's no good. We've given these people so much power that they are just like us. We must cloud their vision so they can no longer see all that we see. So they threw a mist over the people's eyes, and their vision blurred, as when one breathes on a mirror. From then on, they could only see what was near to them. Then the gods decided to make partners for them. While the men slept at night, 4 women were placed beside them. And this is, but I'm not going to finish reading this part, but I want to touch on this, like they say that we were made out of corn. Well, the word corn ties directly to the Greek god Kronos. So, you got the word corn and Kronos. And the Greek god Kronos was Saturn, or the eater of time, or the god Saturn represented time and death, and I think he's also the Grim Reaper too. Holding the scythe. I know I'm pretty sure that's a Saturn symbol as well. But the belief in time, though, is time in itself is an illusion. The concept of time, and since human beings are we're tied to this belief, we believe it to be a real concept. It's literally programmed within us, within our DNA, to believe that time is real. And this is where where the Mayan myth, we're made out of corn, we're made out of Kronos, we come out of the god Kronos. We are a literal part of this matrix. Another word for corn is maize, as the story of creation of humans out of maize. Okay, so maize is another word for corn. The phonetic word for maize is MAIZE, M-A-Z-E, as in like labyrinth, a maze. The Hotel California by the Eagles. Humanity is trapped within the Hotel California and can never leave it. And we're guided to the light, to to the light, to the false light within Plato's cave, which is the light that also casts the shadow show on the cave wall. And it's the light that people falsely claim is the patriarchy. Like, people think we live under a patriarchal system. We don't. We live under a false patriarchy, ruled by darkness, ruled by ignorance, ruled by the yin, the female aspect, the vampire goddess Kali. And they also say that we're in the age of the Kali Yuga. I'm not too sure how much I believe that or not, but I tend to think that humanity was like, we've always been in this age of darkness. We were created into it. We were created within this matrix. But yeah, we live under a matriarchal system, a female system, not a patriarchy, like a lot of these conspiracy theorists, like Bro Sanchez. For one, he would lie to you and say that you live under a patriarchal system and that we should be living under a matriarchy. Well, as little as that dumbass does know, unless of course he's a reptilian just lying to people, and that could be a possibility too. But I tend to think he's some sort of agent. I don't think he's a real human being, or at least not somebody legit. He's either a Mason or some sort of reptilian or alien host type. But yeah, we live we live under a matriarchal system. We don't live under a patriarchy. And the part of the soul that we've been cut off from, I believe anyways, is the masculine, the light, the spirit, because light energy or the light is yang energy, and yang is masculine. It represents the man. It represents the female is represented by yin. The woman takes energy. The vagina takes energy. The woman's womb is a wormhole. She and wormholes bring in life, bring in souls. So she's like a literal, gateway, organic portal, men, the light, we create the seed. We're creators, the light is tied to creation, So yeah, within this matrix that has disarmed us from the spiritual, hence why we're third eye blind. There's no real union between these two parts of the soul, between the male or the female. We are at the mercy of the goddess. The goddess becomes a lioness, or the great devourer, Kali, or and the cat represents I know the cat's tied to the planet Saturn, but yeah, she it's the psychic or the female aspect. I don't know if it's I don't know if I'd call it the female psychic, maybe but it's the female aspect that ends up ultimately destroying us once we pass the threshold of physical death. It's the female aspect that destroys us and then regurgitates us back into this karmic cycle that we're in, this specific karmic cycle. So back into the matrix, only to receive the same programming that we like the Hotel California by the Eagles. You're led. You wake up into the Hotel California. You see a shimmering light into the distance, and then a female approaches you. A woman, and she guides you through the Hotel California to the shimmering light. And when you finally get to the light, you realize it's the false light. And when you get to the master's chamber, which is located within the middle of Plato's cave, within the middle of this labyrinth, this maze, corn maze, you know the light for what it is. The angler fish, drawing you in, like you're literally the jack, the fool in the box, this 3D, three-dimensional, world, and tied to this, matrix, and once you get to that fucking, in the middle of once you get into the master's chamber, you realize the great beast system for what it is, and by that time you begin to run for the door, trying to find the place you were before, and the Nightman tells you to relax. You're programmed to receive. You could check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. You're already too far deep within the labyrinth, to where it's nearly impossible for you to find a way back to where you were, at start, when you had a real chance of getting out. So now the only way out now is through death, and you only, you die, and then you reincarnate back into the labyrinth, only to receive the same programming, that damned you, in your previous incarnation, only to receive the same bullshit guidance from the Black Sun Society, from the matriarchy, from this, the angels or the demons, the spirit guides, ancestors, whatever, these false ascended masters, they're all, the Hotel California staff. They all work for the system, whether they know it or not. And if they don't know it, then these elves, and the typical elf does look like the Nordic Ascended Master. Well, what is elf short for? Entity low frequency. They all work for Saturn. They all work for Satan, for this labyrinth. And they are hybrids. Most of these Nordic Ascended Masters tie into the alien, the gray alien genetics, or the reptilian, genome. They're not real humans. Rh negative blood types. Low frequency, low vibrational beings. Fucking these Rh negative blood types can't reach to the same heights in consciousness as those of us who are Rh positive, like we can. And so yeah, but I think that's pretty much. I think I made my point, but so we live under a matriarchy, and we were, created, within time, or within corn. We are a literal part of this matrix. And these alien gods, when they created humanity, when they split our soul in two, they made us, during our creation process, they made us, literally we're, literally made, into the matrix. If we had a union of the two souls, the two pillars, or the female and the male, if there was a union between these two souls, or these two parts of the soul, then we would be able to break, the concept of time. We would see through it. We would realize, the truth, that there is no time, and we would gain, through that, we would gain physical immortality.